Hi, welcome to the Data Analysis and Policy Show. In this episode, I will be talking to you about mindset again. And the mindset tip is why you need to be consistent in your analysis. So, if you are a data analyst, if you are a policy advisor, an investor in the Eastern Caribbean, or anywhere in the world, focusing on analysis of countries, then this episode might be for you. So, stay with me. Hi, my name is Rooney Calmera. Welcome back in this episode. How is it going with your corona epidemic? Are you safe at home? At home? I hope you are safe at home. I'm here at home and I bring you this next episode about mindset. Why you need to be consistent, and also especially what the benefits are if you are consistent in your analysis. And I will define consistency in a while. Now, when you stay till the end and you watch this episode, I have something unique for you, because I have something for my community of practitioners, economic practitioners that want to be the trusted advisor and that want to be the great investor, that want to be on top of their game. So I have something specially for you that I will only share with the people who join my community for free. So let's start today with this episode. Let me just go to my sheet, and I will be showing you my desktop. So I'm here, and as you know, we are going to China, and it's almost open. Doors are almost open going to China. So if you want to know what is going to China about, then stay till the end, and please make sure that you join my community. So, Policy in Paradise, Data Analysis and Policy Show. What is the topic of today? The topic of today is that I want you to be consistent. Now, let me define consistency in a couple of bullets for you. Consistency in our economic framework means that you want to use definitions and assumptions. You want to clearly separate definitions and assumptions. And I will be showing you exactly what it means. Use definition and assumptions. The second thing is, in a mindset, you need to set up your indicators only once and use them often. So we don't want you to use to set up GDP, put it in a database, and then put another time GDP. Put another time GDP. You have to set up GDP once and use it multiple times. That will give you benefits. The other point is, make your data and graphs and dashboards scalable. I'm going to give you a case study today where you see the benefits of being consistent and doing this third bullet. And then separate data from assumptions. Okay, separate data from assumptions. So not only, number one, definitions from assumptions, but also separate data from assumptions. Okay, so let me first show you one thing, which is use definitions and assumptions. Use definitions and assumptions. So I'm going to my model right now. Economic model. This model is from St. Martin, and use definitions from assumptions. Let me show you. This is a data, and every white space here, every cell with white is a definition. You see, I could just pick up this definition and then say, where is it used? So these definitions, you see that one definition is consumption, and consumption is defined as a couple of variables. These are the variables where it is picking consumption from. So that's clear. In this consistency framework, in this analytical framework, I have that these are definitions and everything white here is definition. In all my macroeconomic models, you could see that these are definitions. Now, this gray area is of course not a definition, it is data, but these are definitions. And definitions, let me tell you about definition. Definitions means that it is this definition is true in all islands, on all countries, etc. So a definition is something like 1 + 1 is 2. It's something like it's always true. It's always true. So no matter what island or what country you're in, this definition will work. So once I set up this definition, I can create this model now for China. Now this is my model for St. Martin, but I could use this framework because this definition is always true. I can use this model for China to build an economic model for China. Now, definitions and assumptions. The green ones are assumptions. You see here one? So when I move to the future, the green ones are assumptions. So every green area in this model for the future is an assumption. And that assumption is based, let me show you. Yes, every green area is an assumption. You see? So there is a clear separation between a definition and an assumption. So you see every green area here is an assumption based on economic theory. So if we go to the future, you see that these are assumptions based on economic theory. And these assumptions are not always true. They are actually not always true because there are several types of economic theory. So this assumption is not always true. So the difference between an assumption and a definition is a definition is always true and an assumption is not always true. So let me move to the next point is set up your indicators only once and use them often. Set up your indicators only once and use them often. Now I will show you on my screen. Where I use this mindset thing, which is here. So going back to my screen, you see here we have consumption. And this is consumption, this is one indicator, and I could show you where this indicator is, let me see, where it is used. So if we take consumption for 2020, and I show you where this indicator is used. You see, consumption is used in the final demand, it is used in the gross domestic product, it is used in the private consumption, it is used in the real final demand. So I would not put consumption more times in this consistency framework. This is the only consumption in there. The only consumption is row number 7, and it is used multiple times. It is used consistently. If I need to pick up consumption somewhere else, I will put it there and I will use it, reuse it. So this arrow is showing you where consumption is being used. So if I have this variable at row 262, which is private consumption divided by GDP, then I need to use that one consumption on the top because that's the only place I have put consumption. Okay, so now let me show you why is that important. Because once you put that consumption and you consistently use it, reuse it, you can have many benefits. The benefits is you will not make mistakes. Imagine you have like 2 types of consumption, or consumption in this spreadsheet and consumption in another spreadsheet, then you do not know which one to use. So this is a mindset thing that helps you reuse consumption. Okay, you reuse consumption. Now let me go to the next the next point. The next point is make your data and graphs and dashboards scalable. Make your data and graphs and dashboard scalable. So let me tell you what I mean. Let me tell you what I mean. This data, which I'm be using all the time, I'm using that time. I'm creating dashboards, and when I create that dashboard, I use this data in my consistency framework. So I have not put the data only there, but I'm reusing that. Okay? So imagine you have a database. We have a database with data. Secondly, we have an analytical framework, consistent analytical framework. And now we're going to create graphs. What most people do is every time they want to create graphs, they will use another spreadsheet, another set of spreadsheets. Those graphs are not dynamic, those graphs are not reusable, they are not scalable. And I will show you a case study where I'm going to update my dashboard right now. So let me show you my screen. And my screen will be with a dashboard. Okay, let me show you my screen with a dashboard. So here you see how we reuse that data. So let me just take this thing out for you to show more. So this dashboard consists of many indicators. This dashboard consists of all the indicators, and I've been working on it today because I need to create a policy paper for this economy. So you see here real GDP. You see here the real GDP, what is it's about, and you see household consumption, etc. So this dashboard is a dashboard where I have reused my data. So let me show you what I mean. If I take this GDP and I go there and I say, where is this data coming from? Select where is this data coming from. You will see that the data is basically coming from, let me show you, this is the GDP, and this data is coming from this selected indicators. You see, this data is coming from here. It's coming from this selected indicators. But these selected indicators, they are based on my consistency framework. So these indicators are not indicators that I just produced in here. These indicators are from my model, from my modeling framework. The modeling framework where we had, this is GDP. It is being reused here in these indicators. These indicators are just a selection of all the indicators in my framework, because I want I took 25 indicators here and 25 indicators. I added 35, now another one, let's say 40 indicators, and these 40 indicators are just a selection of all my indicators in my framework. And I did not type these indicators in here. I did not type them in here. Okay, I linked them. Okay, I linked them from the consistency framework. Okay, so why is this so important? Why is this so important? Let me show you. These indicators, when you go to an indicator and we wanted to look at the GDP, the gross domestic product, if we take the gross domestic product for 2020, then you see here that this indicator is coming from the model. It's coming from the model. If I say, where does this come from? This is not just a figure in here. It is from the model. It is coming from that place. You see a definition again. So, what I'm saying, what am I saying? You have seen that the graphs, I'm able to create the graphs, the dashboards, the senior strategic dashboards, because my data is efficient and consistent, put on one place. So let me go to the last point. The last point is you want to have to separate data from assumptions. Separate data from assumptions. Okay? How do I do that? How do I do that? I do that by looking at the assumptions, and the assumptions are green, like I said, and where is the data? So if you look at the analytical framework again, you see here, this is a definition, this is an assumption, and this one, gray, is data. Separate data from assumptions. Separate data from assumptions. This is very critical in the mindset. This is very critical. Why? Because there are many people where you tell them, okay, what is the data, the raw data, and what is the assumptions? They cannot tell you. They will show you a spreadsheet where all the data and assumptions are mixed together. So that's how you know who is a professional and who is just starting with analysis. Okay, so here in my framework, you see everything which is gray is data, raw data. I didn't touch it. You see everything which is white is a definition, is always true, and you see everything which is green is an assumption. So let me show you the data again. Just a couple of data. You see here we have data about the depreciation of enterprises. You see here we have data about the wage bill. How much wage bill do they have in the enterprises? You want to see data about the exports? No, the fiscal sector. Here are data about the fiscal sector. So we have all this raw data, and then suddenly we have some green, which is our assumptions, and we have a definition which is summary of everything. So what else? We have exports is data coming. It is gray because it is raw data. I didn't touch it. This imports, it is raw data because I did not touch it. So all of these is raw data, and here are my assumptions. Okay guys, so what do you think? What do you think? I have one thing which I want to show you. We have 3 minutes, but I will go another 5 minutes, let's say 7 minutes, to show you how we put this thing into practice. So once you use this thing, once you focus on what I've shown you, once you have this mindset with these things in your mind, now you can scale it. You can scale it because you are very efficient. While other people are, other practitioners, they want to make a graph. Imagine this is the situation. Your boss, or if you are a policy advisor, your senior management wants a couple of dashboards, a couple of additional graphs in their dashboard. Or you are an investor and you just want some other graphs on your dashboard. Because you are consistent, because you have just followed the rule and you have a mindset that I know what I'm doing, now you're able to just quickly add that graph. If you were not consistent, then you would have need to open another spreadsheet, look for the data, check if that data is correct, etc. Now, because I am consistent in my framework, I know that there is one GDP, I know that there is one tourism, stayover tourism, one cruise tourism, and I know that they are defined well. So if I want to add another graph, I will just copy and paste it. And that graph, the new graph, will have all the features of the older graph. So I'm going to show you the case study. And the case study is, let me show you my screen with the case study. So the case study is this. The case study is, imagine now, because we have a consistent framework, analytical framework for the Eastern Caribbean, for the Caribbean, for the Dutch Caribbean, we are going to build this also for China, for the biggest economy in the world. Stay tuned and you will know more about that. Because we have this, now we want to improve our strategic dashboard. So imagine we want to improve our strategic dashboard, and what does that strategic dashboard mean? That is this dashboard. Okay? That's this dashboard with all these kind of indicators. We have this indicator, we have GDP per capita, we have all kinds of indicators, cruise tourists, etc. But imagine you now want to have cruise tourists. These are the cruise tourists, and now we want to create this cruise tourist. We have many indicators. I just want to show you the view, smaller view, so that you know what kind of indicators we have. We have all kinds of indicators. In other episodes, I've also created these kind of indicators. This is a dashboard dashboard with indicators. So now imagine we want to create an indicator which is not only cruise tourists, but we also now want to have stay over tourists. Management wants this. So the next thing, because we are consistent, I'm going to create this thing. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. Let me make it a little bit bigger for you. 200. Okay, so this is the indicator, tourists. The only thing we want to do is we want to copy this indicator, Control C, and we go to the right and we say here, Control V. We have pasted this indicator. But because we have pasted that indicator, now we can just select other indicators, select the stay over, and then this indicator will become stay over. So first thing is we're going to change this into number of stay over tourists. And you see it's about the target is 2 million, and St. Martin has seen a lot of growth. So you see all these features. This is cruise, number of cruise around here, and we are in 2020, let's say it's about 1.7 million. So now we want to make this thing into stay over. So what we do is we do select data, and once we select data, let me just change this thing because I don't want this to show. Select data, and then what we need to do is we need to click on the number of cruise tourists, and instead of me going for 36, because 36 here is the number of cruise tourists, I know that this needs to be 37, because 37 is the next one. If you look at 37 here is the next one, is stay over, and cruise was 36. So that's the first change. Then we need to go to the cruise, to the name of the indicator, and because it was 36 was stay over, and 36 was cruise, and 37 is stay over. You see, immediately the number changed, because the only thing which is different is 36 going to 37. Now, this indicator, I also need to put that instead of cruise, I now need to make it stay over. So this is 66, because the target is at 66, is number of cruise. And another target is the next one target of stay over is 67. So I put this 67 there. 67 instead of 66. Enter. Let's see how this works. Okay. Let's see how this works. You see, let me see. Okay. So we know that the baseline here, you see the baseline is the only thing that need to change. So I need to select data and select, instead of the baseline, instead of 36, so the baseline was 36 number of crews, and then baseline now needs to be 37. And now let's look at the dashboard. That's it. You see? Just need to adjust a little bit. That's it. So now we have 400,000, you see? 400,000 tourist cruise and stay over. If we want to change this target, we also need to change the target. Okay, we need to change the target of how many cruise and stay over tourists there are. Okay, so you see how easy it is for the target. You see how easy it is to create this new dashboard indicator only by changing a couple of things. So I'm going to close this episode right now. Okay, so you have seen how I have created a couple of things because I am consistent. Okay, if I were not consistent, it would have taken me a lot of time. Because I am consistent, because I have, in summary, I have separation of the data and the assumption. I have a separation of the definitions and the assumptions. I use data on indicator only once and reuse it. I set up my dashboard so that I can pick up data from my consistency framework. I use colors. Green is assumption, white is a definition, gray is raw data. Because I am that consistent in my mindset, I'm able to scale this thing up and create a macroeconomic model for St. Martin, for Curacao, for Barbados, and next, China. So, if you want to know more about China, and if you want to know more about the 54 variables that you need to be able to create your economic model, to be able to do your macroeconomic analysis, these are the 54 variables, the golden secret variables that I'm going to share with you. Once you have these variables, these 54 variables, you can create an economic model, an economic analytical framework where you do your analysis, where you have all your data, where you do your get your dashboard. You can do that for any country in the world. Any country. And I'm quite interested in China right now, but I have already created these economic frameworks for analysis, not only from the coronavirus, but also effects of oil, effect of the gross domestic product of the world declining, effects of economic shocks. I have created these models for already 10 islands in the Caribbean, 10 islands in the Caribbean, 8 islands of Eastern Caribbean, and 2 islands of the Dutch Caribbean. And next, My goal is to go for all the Caribbean and ultimately go for all the 58 small islands in the world. But there is something happening. If you want to grab that cheat sheet, right now it's available for free. It's a cheat sheet where you see exactly what the indicators are and what sectors they are in. Grab the cheat sheet. Click on www.kalmera.net/waitlist and you will grab that sheet. Now, while you have grabbed that sheet and you're waiting there, what are you waiting for? You are waiting for when my doors open for my next huge, unique experience, and that experience is going to China. I'm not going to tell you right now about it, but once door will be open only a limited amount of time, and the people on that wait list will be the first one to hear it. And if there are no seats left, then once you do that, you will not be able to join that program. So right now, what you have to do is just click on that kalmera.net/waitlist, grab that cheat sheet, and see you next Friday, this Friday, same place, same time. If you have any questions, just let me know. Bye.